As we prepare for the United Nations Global Week of Road Safety, I've decided to share some thoughts which should make it helpful in trying to understand the reason for this focus, why the National Road Safety Council is placing a priority on this week, and the planned webinar that we are going to have during this week of road safety. So Jamaica has for a long time now had a problem with the number of persons who are dying on our roads. We've been talking about this as a country, as a society. And the lead agency, which is the National Road Safety Council, which has a mandate from Parliament to coordinate all the activities to reduce deaths and injuries on our roads. We have been trying our best to make a difference. We have reaped some success since we started in 1993, when the fatality rate was regularly over 400. And by dint of hard work and collaboration with many agencies, we managed to reduce that figure to 260 in 2012. But since then, the graph has been going in the wrong direction. So for the last 2 years, and based on the current data, it would appear that we are going to go over 400 again, 400 road fatalities for the year. This is not a good thing. It is devastating families. It is costing the country huge sums of money for injuries. And it is putting breadwinners who have been injured and who have had to spend long days and months in hospital. It puts that family at risk for going into poverty. So it affects our GDP. You can lose up to 5% of your GDP from road fatalities. Now, we've been struggling to achieve 5% growth in this country for a long time. And we can't begin to put a cost on what it means to families who have lost their loved ones. So this week is an opportunity for us as a nation to take a serious look, even while we fight against COVID, which is a major issue, at what is happening on our roads. So 2 things are going to happen. One is that there are going to be a coalition of agencies, including UNICEF, a taxi association, TOTS, Grenell's driving school, the police, and other agencies, including Jamaica National Foundation and the Jamaica National Group of Companies. We're all coming together to carry out specific projects during the week, and that will be highlighted by a press release in due course. What I want to place a focus on is the webinar, which is going to take place next week, Thursday, May the 20th, from 9:30 until 11:30. So the program will be as follows. The Honorable Earl Jarrett, who is the deputy chair of the Jamaica National Group, will do the welcome. The Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica and Chairman of the National Road Safety Council, has very kindly accepted an invitation to be the guest speaker, the keynote speaker. That will be followed by a presentation from an internationally celebrated road safety advocates, Zuleika Mandela, who is the granddaughter of the famous Nelson Mandela. Zuleika lost her child, one of her daughters, when the child was 13 years old, I think, Zinani, when the child was killed by a drunken driver. And since then, she has become a very strong advocate for road safety internationally, working very closely with the FIA Foundation, about which I'm going to say a little bit later. So Zuleika has been traveling the world, and we will remember when we were in Brazil for the midterm review of the decade of road safety, which ran from 2010 to 2020, and issued a very famous call for action using the words, "No more excuses." No more excuses to governments who have been dragging their feet in carrying out specific tasks and duties that will make the road safer. So we look forward in very high anticipation to what Zuleika will say during this webinar. The next presenter is somebody who has almost become a household name in Jamaica, Dr. Paris Liu Ayi, who heads up the MONA Geoinformatics Center and is the head of a number of agencies, including chairman of the National Works Agency. So Paris has become one of our chief advisors in respect of gathering the data, geolocating the data, all the fatalities across the country for the last 10 years. He has placed on a crash map, which you can see online, real time. And not only has he located them spatially, but also based on the circumstances, the data which we get from the police each morning, he has issued an advisory note as to how we can reduce crashes in the different areas. He also has used the data to put into what he calls a predictor tool. So Paris has been able to predict very accurately the number of persons who will die on the roads each year. And the prediction for this year is not good. So even though we need to concentrate on COVID, there is an absolute need to place a focus on road safety. Following Paris's presentation, there will be a panel discussion, which I will have the honor to be the moderator, involving 4 international experts. The first one will be Dr. Etienne Proux, who is one of the senior persons at WHO and is responsible for writing a global status report on road safety every 2 years. So he's a very, quote-unquote, big noise at the World Health Organization. Mr. Saul Billingsley, who is the chairman of the FIA Foundation. FIA Foundation is one of the most influential charity and advocacy groups internationally that has, because of his connection with motor racing, that's where they get their funds from, and FIA controls motor racing. So the foundation receives money from motor racing and helps to make the world's roads safer. So they have spent an enormous amount of money across the world trying to reduce the number of people dying on roads, over 1.25 million per year. Let that sink in. Allah, Minister Tufton, let that sink in. And because of this, international community has been galvanized to do something about road safety. And certainly in the last couple of years, the WHO has issued data which shows that in the age cohort 5 to 18, and indeed 5 to 29, road traffic injuries is the #1 cause of death. So that's a good reason why we are placing a focus on road safety both internationally and locally. So Saul will respond, I'm sure, to some of the issues that are circulating about how we can tackle the big issue of road safety. And Dr. Krug will speak about, I'm sure, the WHO's perspective and UN on this matter. Then there's Mr. Julio Uzero, he's from Chile. He works with the International Road Assessment Program, an agency which is funded by the FIA Foundation. And what they do, they come into your country, invited of course, and they do an assessment of your road network and assign a star quality to your network. So the WHO has recommended that every country should have a minimum of a 3-star type road network if you want to make a big difference in terms of driving down injuries. So that's the plan for every country. So it goes from 0 to 5, 5 being the best and 0 being the worst. And this is something that we have been advocating in the National Safety Council for a long time, that we should get this agency to come here, assess our roads, and then tell us what the cost is going to be, and then we can see the money to upgrade our roads. And then Mr. Avi Silverman, who is the deputy chair for the FIA Foundation, will also be on the panel. And that's the first part. And the second part will be an open discussion on the second decade of road safety, which is going to run from 2021 to 2030 with a tagline 50 by 30. That is a reduction of half of the number of fatalities by 2030. A very ambitious program, but it is something which the international community is committed to, and it's something which we, the National Safety Council, is committed to also. So we are looking forward, especially for journalists, to attend the webinar. A link will be sent out soon. We have already begun to invite the policymakers and the legislators. We want to really involve those that have a wide network, the custodians in each parish. We're going to target the private sector organization of Jamaica also. Go through the Jamaica Teachers Association, the Medical Association of Jamaica. Go through the various religious organizations, so that we can get as wide a cross-section of persons to attend. And of course, there's a social media campaign and a print media. It's a campaign, but an exposure. So hopefully, as many persons as possible will attend this webinar, get the kind of information that can help us to work together as a country to deal with this national scourge, where too often so many people are dying, especially motorcyclists, and we need to put a stop to it, and it's something which we are committed to doing. So help us to broadcast this, please, and see you on Thursday, next week Thursday. Thanks very much.